Happy New Year! Now is the time when we're going to be setting new intentions for year ahead and using essential oils for manifestation. Today, me and Liz are going to give you some tips on how to do that more powerfully by leaning into your favorite essential oils. Looking beautiful as normal, ready to party. Liz, how are you today?
I'm excited to get into one of my favourite themes, really. We talk about essential oils, about like healing the body all of the time, but actually, as a way to move your mind into a new way of bringing things to you, really turns me on. So I'm excited by that.
And obviously, we're recording this as we head into 2026. Now, what's really exciting about 2026 in numerological what terms, I guess, it's a 1 year, which means that whatever you went through in 2025 is kind of the closing of a chapter. And kind of globally, we're all moving into a brand new chapter. So this is a time of new beginnings, new initiatives, new ways of approaching things. So more so than many years, I think it's really timely for us to talk about setting new intentions and working out what are we going to do? Because if we don't work out what we're going to do and have those intentions, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got.
Yeah, so in case it wasn't clear, it's a 1 year because if you go 2026, that's four and six is 10, and then you join the two together to make one. And of course, one can represent unity, but it can also represent you as the individual, but also the fact that we are all one and connected by a great consciousness. And this idea that there is a great consciousness and that we can draw from that consciousness or contribute to that consciousness is really kind of the science, put that in inverted commas, behind how we use essential oils for manifestation.
Mm. Have you ever looked at essential oils and numerology and what the number associated with different essential oils are, Liz?
Yeah, so actually, we did a quantum aromatherapy course at the school, which was run by Michelle Rocks O'Neill, or Rock O'Neill, I always say it wrong. And that was exactly what she did. She talked about how each sort of number had its own sort of meaning and vibration. And looking at that, it was a beautiful course. I have to say, if any of the girls are watching, I really miss them. We had such a lovely time. But it's fascinating to look at, the different sort of vibrations and feelings that different numbers have and their meanings. Yeah.
It was really interesting. I kind of thought about the oils that I'd like to discuss with you today. And then I thought, oh, I wonder what the numerology or what the one oils are. And funny enough, one of them was Clary Sage. And I think Clary Sage it may not come up as a manifestation and intention setting essential oil, but I think it really brings in an important first step when it comes to setting intentions. What I love about Clary Sage is it's renowned physically as being a hormone balancer. Yes, it is. But, Clary Sage translates to mean clear eye. It can be used for different eye issues as well. Don't go putting it in your eyes, though. But I also find that it really helps to give you clear inner vision. I love it for the higher chakras, the third eye chakra, and that type of thing as well. We live in a world that is constantly telling us what we should do, whether it be your partner, other people in your family, the community, bosses, or even society, even the apps and whether it be Netflix, Spotify, or Instagram, telling you this is what you need to know, watch, listen to, and so on. And sometimes we can start to make goals just because everyone else is making those goals. Maybe we make goals because our partner has goals, or our goals are around what we want to see in our kids in this way. And so I recommend finding some quiet time, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, really great in the wintertime, to think about what am I trying to do with my life and what are my intentions? And working with Clary Sage just in an inhalation way of guiding and allowing you to connect with that. There is this druidic saying that our conscience is the voice of God within. And I love that saying because that idea of we actually know what we want, but we live in a world that's noisier than ever. telling us all those different things. And I think Clary Sage can almost, just like when we're subjected to too much toxicity physically, it throws out our hormones. Clary Sage helps to balance that. I think when we've got too much toxic or influential energies around us, Clary Sage can be a really powerful one. So we block that out, go, hold on, what do I want? And what do I want to manifest in that way? Once you've done that as well, I think it's really important not just to think about that, but then come into a format where you can write it out. Although we live in a digital world and we can type things on screens and put things on Word documents, there's some power that seems to come up when you write something down, whether you write it out over and over again or write it as an intention or all that different thing. There's something about that energy that does that. So I'd really encourage you. One of the first steps you need to do is get clear on what you want. Step 2, write it down. What do you think is really important when you're starting to manifest and set intentions, Liz?
So I just want to go back to what you said about putting Clary Sage in your eye, and then I'll go on from that. So the reason why it's called clear eye is because they used to use the Clary Sage seeds, and they would put it just by the eye, and it would pull any like mucilage and any sort of debris was in the eye, and it would draw it out, and that's why it's called clear eye.
I'm Elizabeth Ashley, UK Director for the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapy and founder of the Aromatic Mystery School, where essential oils meet the deeper, more mystical side of healing. Here you'll explore the spiritual, emotional and energetic dimensions of plants and learn how to weave them into your own rituals and well-being practices. If you're ready to work in a way that nourishes both your soul and your senses, join us at the Aromatic Mystery School. The link's right below.
The whole word of Clary Sage means clear sight, and that's exactly what clairvoyance means. So it's the ultimate oil really for using for clairvoyance. But also if you look at sort of the herbalists in the medieval times, because this is how medicine was made, they classified it under, Culpeper I think classifies it under Mercury and the moon. So we'll put the moon out the way at the moment, but let's talk about Mercury. So my favorite archetype of Mercury is to understand that Mercury as a god, or Hermes, was able to go up to the gods, down to the underworld, and be in this world. There's only him and Hecate that could do that. Others have to sort of exist between one or two of the worlds. They could go to 3. And the Mercurial archetype is how you can have this divine inspiration and to be really quite an easy, big vision in your brain. But then you've got to try and tell that to somebody and convince them of that. And that becomes more effort. It kind of gets more density to it. And then if you think, right, I always think back now to when we did the Beyond the Essential Oil Recipe Summit. So the first sort of conversation with Gergley to say, let's do this was quite easy. It probably took me 10 minutes to convince him. And then we had to go, and both of us had to go and convince investors and people to come and be part of it. So that was more difficult. And then we had to work out all of the software and how to construct it and do all the artwork. And suddenly this is an enormous project. So this idea of like the divine inspiration becomes more concrete as it comes down to earth. And so when you're setting an intention, being able to articulate all parts of the pyramid are really important. And Clary Sage is really good at being able to say, right, how do you get that idea from that divine inkling onto paper, but then how do we execute it as a plan? So I agree, Clary Sage is a brilliant choice for that. In terms of intention setting, from my point of view, you overstepped 100 steps, right? Because I think that the key to in setting an intention is to be so clear in what you're trying to do. And maybe this is from being a sales manager for a long time, of, setting targets, understanding objectives, right? Looking at all the parameters that decide, is that working, the analytical part of my brain. But be able to like track an intention in that way requires detail. So I think the phrase itself, to set an intention, has become a non-word. Like it's just, you say it and you don't even think about it now. So let's just rewind a bit and really think about what we're saying. So my first thing we'll say, let's just think about the word intention. What do we intend to do? Straight away, that's like, oh, that's not what I thought it was doing to me. I thought I was saying what I want to do. No, what do I intend to do? So that's different. So we've got to think about, okay, if I'm intending to do that, what are the steps I've got to put in place to be able to achieve that? So that's the first thing, of understanding about I intend to do. But also, I think we can make the mistake of thinking like this is just like a magical practice. No, it's a healing practice as well. If you're making a blend of essential oils for somebody who has got aches and pains, you want to be adding your intention, your desires for that blend as an ingredient into that blend. You're not just leaving the plant medicine to do it. This is my intention. This is what I want to work. This is how I am directing this blend. So understanding that idea of how I am directing, what I intend it to do, what I intend to do to support that blend. So that's intention. And so to set, now that's another word. So how many meanings can you think of the word set?
Oh, there'd be things like setting your hair or waiting for something to set, as in dry. There'd be like ready, set, go. I think of the ancient Egyptian god Set or Seth. There's a few that come into mind off the top of my head.
24. 24
24.
meanings to the word set.
I
So,
was close.
no, it wasn't. You did about 6, but 6 is impressive. Like a set of like a set of essential oils, for example. There's lots. Your jelly sets. But 24 different meanings, and this was one of my dad's favourite things when we were driving in the car. Right? Can you think of all the meanings of set? So now, though, when I think about set and intention, the one that comes to my brain is my mum saying to me, can you set the table ready for dinner? That was my job. So for me, it's very carefully, you lay something down carefully. Mum's nice china, for goodness sake, put the knife and fork in the right place. And it's a deliberate, careful act. Well, I don't think that's what I want, that energy behind setting my intention. What I want is like Artemis setting her bow, and she can see exactly where that point is going to land, and there's a huge amount of energy behind it. And so that's a completely different sort of set of energy that I need to get into my body before I even think about what I'm going to do. So this kind of drawing up of precision and huge amount of energy, release it. So that kind of mindset is really different to, don't forget to set your intention. Really thinking about, well, what does that mean to me? What do I want that intention to have? So for me, I want it to have precision. I want it to have energy. I want to be able to clearly articulate it. And I also want to understand what are the steps that I need the blend to do, but also what are the steps that I need to be able to do to pursue that goal, to be able to do it. So all of that, for me, needs to be a consideration before I even get my pencil out.
With this idea, I think, manifestation or birthing anything, we know to make a baby that you need a masculine and a feminine. You need a man and a woman to do that. And I think whenever we want to set intentions, I think you really kind of laid out nicely, there is a need for that masculine side of things and there is a need for the feminine side of things. And what I mean by that is the masculine side, regardless of what gender we identify as, we all have a masculine side. That is the structured, the planning, the setting the table, the having the foundations, the putting the action in there, all that type of thing. It's the head of intention setting. And then there is the feminine side, which is that nurturing and caring and heart, and it's got to be feeling behind it, not just I want to manifest this. You've got to really yearn it and bring that emotion in there as well. And some people find that they're really good at the masculine side of things. They know what they want and all that, but they don't have the heart and they lose motivation or drive after a while. Some, have all the dreams in the world, but don't actually sit there and actually plan and have that strong foundation. And this is where working with oils such as frankincense to heal and bring out the masculine, or another one oil, myrrh, is really good for helping us get really clear on our feminine side and what we need to do to nurture and mother that intention from that idea that the Clary Sage brings through into that big kind of plan and manifestation at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And there's a really good sort of ritual that doesn't really work at this time of the year, but it's worth kind of understanding it. When you do sort of Beltane rituals or, the spring rituals, when we're setting intentions at that time of year, what's really a good thing to do is to say, right, I understand what my intention is, and it's this seed, and I'm going to plant this seed. And then like watering it and thinking, well, what did I do today to work towards that goal? What did I do to like pursue that dream? Because it's just not practical to think that that the life's going to change that much unless you put the work in, so nurturing it like a seed is a really good vision to have.
I totally agree there, and I think that's one of the best spiritual lessons you can do. And I had people do that year after year, is put your intention in a seed, and then let's see how that plant actually grows. And it's amazing when you check back with the group afterwards. Some are like, "Oh, I can see little green sprouts," and some are like, "Oh, I'm getting a flower." Another like, "I popped it outside and I forgot to water it," and it really shows you what energy or what intention you're putting behind something you want to manifest. Is it a throwaway wish that you think about for 5 minutes and do a little bit and then just kind of hope and pray that something might happen? Or are you actually constantly doing the things that need to happen to be a vibrational match and practically manifest what you want?
Yeah, and every time you water it should also come with a time when you do an action that works towards that vision. So, if you're on a diet, for example, that you go and do a 5-minute walk or whatever, that's you're always pursuing that dream alongside watering the flower. But I think that you hit the nail on the head, that people have different strengths and different reasons why things fall apart, really. So for me, I would say it's willpower. Really can't be bothered to do it half the time. And so the sort of two oils that I like to use together when that happens, and that is sweet basil and and grapefruit. The two together are really good at being able to say, but you've got to do it, and you've got the energy to do it. And so they've got that lovely sort of herbaceous, freshness to them. And I think also it's a really nice change of pace after the stodgy scents that we've had over the Christmas period. We've had all the cinnamons and and lots of fir and stuff like that. This is like fresh and zingy and energetic. So those would be my two to go together, really. And I always say that grapefruit is like you, but on a really good day. So every day you've just got the passion and the energy and the drive to follow it. And sweet basil's very good at being able to say, no, don't just think about it, do it. So those two together are really good.
Yeah, I can see that. When it comes to like manifestation as well, I also think that, another citrus, bergamot, is really, really good. out of all the essential oils that I've ever worked with, bergamot for me has really come up as being the best one for self-worth and self-esteem. And I think often we have the life and we are where we are today because of the who we are type of thing. And so if we want something different, we have to become something different. We have to become a vibrational match for that. If you're looking at attracting a new lover in 2026, are you a vibrational match? Are you the type of person that your ideal partner would want to date? If you're wanting to earn a certain amount of money, do you provide that kind of service that is worthy of that kind of money and that type of thing as well? And working with bergamot, I think bergamot, being a citrus, obviously helps us feel cheerful and increases serotonin levels and all that type of thing, but it does it in such a chilled out, relaxed way without the pressure. And so I love, when I do money manifestation, I love to pair it with citrine crystals, and it's really good just for helping you go, okay, I deserve something better, and believe, not just kind of want that intention, it would be nice to be a millionaire. Go, no, I actually believe that I am worth and I give $1 million worth of value to the world. And now I'm ready to bring that into my reality as well.
Yeah, I do think that the citruses have huge amounts to offer like that. And we spoke in a different video about on the winter solstice, we talked about how you use yuzu as to cleanse out. And I think that part of the success of doing this kind of work is that you are able to change or alter or affect your brain chemistry in a way that makes you more positive towards doing this. So it's very easy to go, well, it'd be lovely to be a millionaire, but it's never going to happen to me. Well, okay, no, you're right. Yeah, I can't remember. I think maybe it was Zig Ziglar said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. It was just like really profound to me. That was like a life-changing thing to learn. And I've said this loads and loads of times on different videos, that for me, if life feels hard and I feel like I'm having an ugly day, and there's more and more of those, I have to say, lately, the best oil that makes me go, yeah, but you've got to do it anyway, and you've got to shine and you've got to sparkle, is sweet orange. And I think, and I did another video actually with Vanessa Jean, and we did a whole video about using orange oil as a way to manifest. It's just an interesting vibration, orange, because it's not just a smell, it's a color, it's a feeling, and you can really affect your whole energy field by like visualizing that you become almost like the orange, that you turn the vibration of the energy field orange, smelling it. And actually, when you look at the gift, your word gifts of the essential oils, you look at the gifts of the orange tree, they're all very, very similar. So for instance, sweet orange, so positive, makes you feel so pretty, it's so uplifting, lack of anxiety, all of that stuff. Then you've got petitgrain, just a tremendously uplifting and such a relaxing medicine. And then you've also got neroli, which I always say is so good at helping you to understand what you can manifest. So the three together, that orange vibration is so good at just saying, not only I deserve this, but I already have it. I mean, I think that a really important lesson is that we are already abundant, and just remembering that, and I have huge amounts of gratitude, and I'm just really enjoying all this abundance that's coming towards me. Okay, let's send you some more abundance, so I think that the orange is so good for that.
A couple of things I'd love to say about the citruses. The first thing is petitgrain. I think it works really well on what I call the Leo Aquarius axis. So if you look at the zodiac signs, they're sometimes represented in a circle, and the opposing signs opposite on the circle often have different like opposing energies in one way or another. Now with Leo and Aquarius, Leo is act now, think later, and Aquarius is kind of think now, have a bit more of a think about it a bit longer, contemplate a different idea, and maybe act on it one day. So we want to find a balance between those two. And you can actually look at how many planets you have in Leo and how many you have in Aquarius, and whether you need to get your ass into gear and be a bit more active, or whether you need to, if you've got a lot of Leo planets and not much Aquarius, whether you need to have a bit more of a better plan. Now, when we think about pettigrain, pettigrain comes from the leaves and the twigs of the orange tree, which will later then produce us blossoms for our neroli essential oil and the fruit for our orange essential oil. But in order for your life to blossom and for it to bear fruit, you need to have those foundations. And in our book that you mentioned before, there's Gifts of Essential Oils. The gift of pettigrain is foundations. It's calming, and it just makes you sit down and have a bit of a plan. So if you find that you have these intentions, and maybe you've made intentions on the 1st of January, and by the 7th of January your exercise and fitness program is not doing too well and you've already gained 2 kilos in a week, then maybe we need to look at pettigrain, slowing down and having a bit more of a plan, and go back to what we were saying a bit more about with intentions as well. So I love pettigrain for that. I want to throw a bit of a random one at you, and I did throw it at you a couple of weeks ago, Liz. Another citrus, I love finding rare and unusual essential oils, and I ordered us both and sent it to your house because it was easier. Buddha's finger, or Buddha's hand, which
I
is...
love it. I love it. Buddha's hand. I love it. It was such a nice present.
It's a really unusual because it's a citrus that kind of grows like a hand. It's kind of got these little compartments in the fruit. And just like any other citrus, you can cold press that as well. So I haven't received it yet, but have you got any initial thoughts or insights about that? Because the fruit is traditionally in Asia associated with abundance and prosperity, good luck, good fortune, and all those different things. But you've had a whiff. I haven't got mine yet. Any insights from that?
Smells like orange. Smells just like orange.
Yeah. So
it is like you open it up and you go, ooh. And in actual fact, I hadn't really thought about it, but actually that is exactly what it is. It's like you have that feeling of like the big fat Buddha. That's exactly what it does make you feel like. Oh, so full of plenty. It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So a bit of a harder one to find. You may have to look around, but it could be another valuable one, especially I would treasure that for possibly money intentions and money manifestation, or something that's a little bit special. But, the other citruses that are readily available, I think are powerful as well. Now, I know you like to create some really great blends to help us out. Are we ready for a blend, or have you got more to share with us first?
No, you can. So I just want to share one more, and that is black pepper. So right at the beginning, you mentioned about people setting their intentions, and you're like, but you can easily get swept away by the family plan, and your own personal thing is not there. And for me, black pepper is so good at being able to say, what you're doing is so good. It's really good. I use it a lot for people who are like carers. What you're doing is so good. But what about you? Right. So there's that aspect. So I think that when you're doing your inhalations, about thinking about your what your intentions might be and what your plans might be, it's worth sort of just going, right, I've got my plan, and now I'm going to do it with black pepper and just see if it comes out any more detailed, any more aspects that way. And the other one, which is very good for this kind of work, is lemongrass. Lemongrass is very good at going, I know all of these things are true, but what if? So if you're somebody who puts a lot of obstacles in your own way, and sometimes, make no mistake, and I was really careful when I didn't say makes excuses, because often, particularly for women who are raising children and looking after homes and have got parents and all of those things, those obstacles are really, really true, right? But so, for example, maybe you say, well, I would love to go and see the pyramids, whatever, but there's no way I can leave home. Lemongrass is very good at going, okay, I know that you got the kids to look after, I know you've got college, I know you got this, but what if? And it's very good at being able to go, so let's just really look past that now and say, right, we're going to put that intention in place, and then we can work on the other stuff. But don't just like not be able to see over the first fence. So that would be my advice for those two.
I hope I'm not stealing.
Go on.
Go on. I was going to say, I hope
And
I'm not stealing one of your blends here, but I think a blend of clary sage, black pepper, and lemongrass would work really well for all that intention setting um, kind of stage that we were talking about before. To build on what you said, I'm always harking on about what an oil does physically, it does metaphysically. Black pepper, one of its great uses is for helping with addictions. I also find it's really good for helping you get rid of the bad habits that we adopt, which are inauthentic or not truly ourselves. Black pepper really resonates with Pluto, getting in with that animalistic drive and who are you and what do you want? And so I think it can help you unmask yourself and stop trying to pretend to be someone you're not, try and impress other people and really get clear on what you want. Because what you need for effective manifestation is you need your thoughts, your words, and your actions to all be in alignment. They all need to be singing the same tune. Otherwise, just like if you tried to play 3 different songs at the same time, it's a muddled mess. So I think black pepper is really great for that. With lemongrass, so detoxifying for the body, and just as we see it's a blade of grass, it's a sword. It gives us that clarity of what we really want as well. So I would love that trio together for getting really clear on what do I want and what do I truly want and what do I need to do for it.
very good. I feel like I should throw that one off the way. Right, so these are different. So this one I've called Grateful Abundance. I just have to look to make sure that didn't go on a candle. No. So this one's Grateful Abundance. And as I say, for me, I think one of the most important things to be able to do when you're doing an intention setting is not only to say, right, this is where I want to go, but where am I now? You know? And sometimes look how far I've come. So that's a cardamom thing. But where am I now? Where's my starting point come from? And if we're really honest, we're never starting from zero, right? We're always quite far up. We've already got a foundation in place, and we should be really grateful for that foundation. We've got to, I'm in my own shed with sitting on a heated blanket, and there's food in the cupboards, and it's been built by a man that loves me. There's so much to be thankful for. That's where we start from, and then we move on to the abundance from what do we want next. So that is the blend. So it is 3 drops of sweet orange essential oil, 2 drops of clove essential oil, and 1 drop of cinnamon essential oil. And like I say, I would use a diffuser, but you could put it in a diffuser or an evaporator. And what I thought was lovely is it's really quite a Christmassy scent. And I thought that was really fascinating, that's kind of what we're supposed to be sort of manifesting at Christmas. You could use that, as I say, in a diffuser. The other thing that I like to do when I'm really thinking, right, I've got some stuff I need to plan, is I like to make a simmer pot. So I tend not to use essential oils, but you could use it with essential oils. So you eat your orange because that's healthy and it's good for your body, and that is vitamin C. So you eat your orange. Right, so you put your pot of boiling water, and you put your orange peels in there, because that's where all your essential oils are, right? And it's you're going to throw away. So put that into your pot of hot water, and then add a couple of cloves and a stick of cinnamon, and just let that diffuse right the way through your house. And just watch how happy everybody is with that fragrance around. And it's very good for purifying the air, all that volatiles. And what you should definitely do is every time your husband puts the dehumidifier on, go and turn it off, which I did 3 times last week. I don't care that the steam, love. That's what we're trying to do. So that's really good. So just putting those into the air is really good for going, right, okay, I am really grateful for this abundance, and I want more. And the abundance that I want looks like this. So that would be my first one. My second one is about, you have to check my spelling. You know how when you write something down and you think that just doesn't look right? That doesn't say armor, does it? That says amour, right? You need to put your glasses on. Yes,
Yeah,
that's okay.
you're missing
Then
an R.
I've got visions of like a coat of like a suit of armor standing there ready for you. But this is called In the Arms of Armor, and more. And the idea that we would like to manifest more love in our lives. I see it on all of the pages. I want to attract a man. The one I've got is cheating on his wife. No, you don't want one. You don't want that one. You want somebody who is going to be there on the dark days whenever you want them. And but also you need to be in a place where you are resonating all of that yourself, right? That you are somebody who is worth loving, and that you have sensuality, and that you're really happy and safe in your own body. So this is like a massage oil, but you could mix it into a body butter or what have you. But this is like, I love myself, I am worthy of love, and I'm putting it out there that I am ready for love. So I don't use it very often, but I thought I would mention jojoba carrier oil. I'll talk about that in a minute. We've gone so 9 ml of jojoba carrier oil, 1 ml of rosehip carrier oil, 3 drops of rose absolute. It's expensive. You are worth it. 2 drops of ylang ylang essential oil, and 1 drop of myrrh essential oil. And actually there's everything in there you can't have when you're pregnant, so sorry about that. Not in the first 37 weeks of pregnancy, and not while you're breastfeeding. Jojoba. Did you know that jojoba was one of the key ingredients that led to them stopping whaling, people killing whales?
No, was it a substitute? Was it, or was there another reason?
Exactly right. So one of the reasons that it was so popular to kill whales was that they needed like the fats, or I think it's the maybe spermatizelli or something like that, to make soap. And it has a really like thick consistency. And then they discovered that jojoba did the same thing, so it became a replacement for that. And so we really do need to support the jojoba industry so that they leave the whales alone, please. And it's a really good ingredient to know about, because when you use it on the skin, it has pretty much the same pH as your skin's natural sebum. So it doesn't block the pores, and your skin actually thinks, oh, I feel really healthy today. And so you look healthier, but your skin actually is healthier because it balances out the sebum production. So jojoba is a really valuable thing that I don't talk about anywhere near as much as I should. And then I've added 1 ml of rosehip, because rose is rose. Let's have as much of it. But it is a really thick oil. It's kind of like a golden, almost orangey yellow color. So we only want a very, very small amount of it. You can use more. It's not unsafe to use more, but it's expensive. So just putting a little bit on there really gives a beautiful richness to the jojoba base. And so you're putting every day, you will feel $1 million, and you watch them flood to you.
Now it's time for our favourite segment. Adam asked a random question which could possibly throw you under the bus. But one thing I've been getting into...
Can I just say, I thought we had agreed we were not doing random questions today.
I can't remember. I can't remember that part of the conversation.
Yeah, no, go on.
Obviously, we talk a lot about the spiritual and the magical properties of essential oils, and I have been kind of starting to look at how different carrier oils have been used magically or spiritually. Do you know anything off the top of your head about jojoba or rosehip in that way? Any spiritual or magical properties of them, by any chance?
I don't know about them for jojoba, but of course rosehip has all the properties of rose. But also really they don't, you can't drink it the same way as you can like drink rosehip syrup, but it just is really sort of fortifying to the immune system and stuff like that. So that would like translate to being protective. You can like extrapolate them from that way. But yeah, certainly different trees and different fruits and seeds do have the same magical properties. Yeah.
I love that you were able to fit ylang ylang in that blend. And you also did talk about neroli before, because the 4 oils that I knew were number 1 oils were clary sage, myrrh, neroli, and ylang ylang. And they've all come up in this conversation quite naturally, which is really quite special as well. A couple of oils I will throw in there. Oh, isn't that cool that we did that? All right, magic. Anyway, a couple of other oils I'm going to just give honorable mentions to. If you do want to find out more about how these would work in manifestation and so on, maybe check out my individual videos on them on my channel. But I really like bergamot mint. So it's not a citrus, it's obviously part of the mint family. That's really good for when you have things like blocks. People talk about money blocks or intimacy blocks or things like that. Working with that can be really beautiful. I really like cumin. I add a drop of cumin to many of my manifestation blends because cumin kind of puts in the clause for the greatest good of all concerned. We all want to be millionaires, but we don't want, a beloved person in our lives to die and leave us $1 million. So cumin can work with that as well. And I also really like geranium for its attribute of it does promote trust. And sometimes we just need to trust that things are manifesting as they should, and it'll all make sense in the long term. And maybe occasionally we just need to not push so much. So those are some other oils I'll just throw in as honorable mentions for manifestation. Any others that you think we've missed, Liz?
Yeah, I think that the geranium one, for me, that would be Roman chamomile. The way it goes, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. You just have to kind of go with the flow. That's definitely a chamomile one. But when I was talking about at the beginning about, right, you've got to think about how you fit that pyramid structure of how do we bring it into being. One of the key things for me, because I am very much a networker, is and what people can help me with that. And how can I help other people with that? And how do we build that network? And for me, that's what Monada is very good at. Monada fistulosa, of attracting the right people to you. And so just like maybe having Monada in the bath, of course, that is I should have been a sea witch or a mermaid, I think, in the bath, and then kind of it's at night going, right, okay, this is my intention, this is what I need help with. You can guarantee within the next week you're like, there's a conversation happening that will help me with that. So Monada is really good for that. Yeah.
So our work here is done. We have given you the tools and the tips to manifest the amazing year ahead in 2026. Now you've just got to go out there, lean into the plant world and these beautiful essential oils and do the work. And we look forward to sharing an amazing 2026 with you. And we've got plenty of episodes and plenty of content still to share with you in next year and for many years to come, maybe. Who knows how long we're going to have these conversations for, Liz? We just can't shut 2 good people up, can you?
No. And people do need to subscribe so they don't miss 2026.
Exactly. Make sure you like it, share it, and also pop a comment down below. We'd love to know any oils that you think we've missed and you've used in maybe a working or a meditation that has helped you to manifest something in the past as well, so we can all learn from each other. Until next time, take care and blessed be.
Bye-bye.
Whoa. One more thing before you go. Hopefully you got a little bit more excited about essential oils in this episode, and you may be running off to go buy some more. Now, before you do that, I want to talk to you about quality of essential oils. Did you know that around the world there is no regulation or governance about the labeling of essential oils? Anyone can call an essential oil pure, natural, organic, and it doesn't have to be. In fact, 75% of what's sold as lavender around the world is not even from the lavender plant. This can be ineffective in an oil, but it can also mean that the oil can be harmful for you, not only physically, but metaphysically, it's not going to work well either. So I went on a journey to find the best essential oils that I can trust, and I found doTERRA to be absolutely amazing. Not only do they test all their essential oils, but they have an independent third party test them at the end of their journey to make sure only in the bottle is what nature intended. However, if you want to get doTERRA essential oils, don't just jump on their website. Reach out to me and I'll give you a discount code so you can get them at a cheaper price. But I don't just want you getting essential oils, I want you to learn how to use them each and every day for the body, mind, heart, and for the spirit as well. So when you become one of my customers, you get free access to a lifetime discount code. We have online portals where you can learn more, and we have giveaways and freebies and all different things like that. So I'd love you to join my wellness community. Simply click on the links below and let's get started with you using real essential oils as nature intended.